He's got base 3 covered, he's got base 4 covered, and he's got somebody serving him an underarm ball here, right, that he's going to knock out the ballpark. I mean, what one is it? He said we have to win straight from the off, but if we don't win straight from the off, we need to find a little bit. So I don't know. Maybe it's just lost, and maybe it's the language barrier here for him trying to find the correct rhetoric, and that's possible. But you know, if you said to me now, where are Chelsea going to finish, I'd say to you, I've no idea.
No, I know.
Absolutely no idea. I've no idea how this is going to go for Pochettino. None whatsoever. Now, that might become clearer as the summer moves on and maybe some more people go and some more people come in. At the moment, you look at them and think, I have no idea how this team is going to perform this year. None at all.
What do you do, Stevie, if you're Poch?
If I'm Poch, the last thing I turn around and start at my first press conference is say, well, we can't ask for time. Why are you doing that? I mean, right now, he's got everybody on his side. You know, we're sitting here, Craig's sitting here talking about, I don't know what they're going to get. Everybody in the football world understands how tough a job this is, right? But he's coming out and he's setting himself up. We've just been talking about Kylian Mbappe doing an interview 12 months ago, and guess what the press did? Oh dear, let's just move that.
I think it was only a couple of months ago, Steve.
A couple of months ago. The fact is, he's made some sort of statement.
Yeah.
And at the time, doesn't matter. Now the press just go, oh, this is just the perfect time. We'll slot this in. After 4 games and he's not won a game, do you think they're going to just slot that interview back in place and go, well, you're the one that said we don't need time. We don't expect time. We have to start off by winning. It's going to come back and haunt him big time.
How the heck does he know what's going to happen?
I've no idea.
Because obviously we know it's training, it's pre-season, but that's no indicator, isn't it? You only really know from that first game, which is against Liverpool.
You have it. You don't. You have a plan, and you hope that you now have your pre-season to work on the plan.
But you don't even know what players you're going to have, do you?
Well, exactly. So not only are you making a plan, you're making a plan without knowing exactly how to put the plan in place with the players that you may or may not have. But you've also put yourself under pressure by saying that, you know, this club has to start winning straight away. That doesn't make any sense.
I just hope he's having more of a... I hope he's having more of a relationship with the sporting people at the club, 2 or 3 of them, whatever it is. There's certainly a couple of them that are heavily into making these transfer decisions. I hope, for his sake, there's more. There is more of a relationship than Graham Potter. I almost felt like Graham Potter every day. It was like, there's a delivery for you.
Yeah, it's another
Open
one.
the box.
It's like Amazon.
So, you know, that's a problem. So I'd like to think, having brought an experienced manager in like him, that he's on board with what they're doing and vice versa. If that's the case, they've got half a chance. But if it continues to be that he, like Graham Potter, is blindsided by most of them that are coming in, it's going to go wrong.
As you mentioned, of course, he left Spurs and then went to PSG. An underwhelming time there. This is what he had to say about that experience. Experience gives you the understanding about the game, about how to behave. I'm a better coach and a better person. I need to prove myself. That is motivation. It is part of my nature. You were critical of him during his time at PSG, Jules. Have you seen enough from him that suggests he has got better from his time at Spurs and that he can do something with this Chelsea squad?
I just hope that he's learned from what went wrong in Paris, which is, I mean, there's a lot of things and we don't have enough time now anyway, but he certainly felt he had to compromise his own ideas to succeed in Paris because he didn't feel that maybe the squad was all on board, that if he was pushing and be as intense as he used to be at Spurs, it would work with Messi and Mbappe and Neymar and Verratti and the others. So he kind of went halfway, half his real method and half of what he thought was maybe right for this squad and that dressing room, which was wrong because it was just counterproductive completely. But the thing is, we don't really know what Poch we're going to see at Chelsea. Is it the one that we saw at Spurs? Is it a mix of the one we saw in Paris and the one we saw at Spurs? Again, this is a very different dressing room than the one that he had at Spurs and even the one that he had in Paris. That's why I really hope he'd learn from it, from everything that went wrong in Paris. But like you said, Dan, he only has 50% of his players right now. So by the end of the summer and the transfer window, the dressing room might be very different to the ones that he will have for the next 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks. It's very difficult to say, and I think he's a bit lost. And for me, that press conference looked how lost he is. Because starting by trying to be positive, saying, yeah, let's go and win straight away, and then saying, well, maybe then, if we don't, then little by little, we can get our ideas through. Which one is it then? And I think he's a bit lost, and it can't be easy. He turns up, he's training, he organizes barbecue, and there's like, what, 5 players there? Half of the others are gone, the other half are international players, and the rest, he doesn't know what's going to happen to them, and so he doesn't know who the new signings are going to be. So it must be quite difficult for him to just plan everything ahead because of that uncertainty. I would think, and Stevie can help us on this, if a manager really wants to keep a player, you can convince him to stay. You can have that face-to-face discussion when you say, listen, this is how we're going to play, and I want you here, and I'm going to build the run, and I'm going to do this and that. If he wants to keep Lukaku, who right now doesn't want to be at Chelsea next season, I'm sure he can. We've seen this before. So it will all depend on that meeting but with the two of them. If Poch is a bit like, I'm not sure, what is your mindset? What do you want to do? Lukaku is going to say, hang on, I don't want to be here. Send me back to Inter. I'm very happy there. I know the coach really well. I know the team, the squad, the way we play. I'm used to it. I want to be there and not here. If Poch, on the other hand, is on the front foot and say, I need you here, I want this, and show some love, then I think Lukaku can say, okay, now I'm buying into this project. I want to stay and work with you, Mauricio. So it'd be very important. But the thing is, right now, we don't really know what Poch wants to do with him. On paper, Lukaku doesn't look like a Pochettino striker, really, if you think of the strikers that he had before. But maybe he feels like he's not going to get any better striker than him, so may as well keep him at the club.
Well, it's one of two conversations. You either kiss his backside for the amount of time that you're sitting having the meeting. Right. And I get the impression that Lukaku is the type of character who will, I'm not going to say fall for that, but who will like to hear that, and it might persuade him. The other conversation has to be, look, I don't have a place for you, and I will do everything I can to move you on and let you get on with your career. That's the only two conversations, because the middle conversation of, well, let's see what happens, isn't going to work. Okay. It isn't going to work. It doesn't work. So it's one of the two. Personally, I think it's going to be the second one. It's going to be, look, it just hasn't worked for you here. I don't think it's going to work for you under me, and I'll do what I can to let you go.
If he wasn't happy the first time, well, not the first time he was there was when he was a young boy. But if he wasn't happy a year or so ago, when they signed him for big money, what's going to change? Yeah. Nothing. And you've got an unhappy player. As much as you tell him about, oh, I'm going to do this with you, I'm going to do that with you, he doesn't really want to be there. And not only in his mind, that's his thought process, which, by the way, certainly hampered him from performing under Thomas Tuchel. But not only that, there's 40 to 50,000 that are there every second week that also know and knew that he didn't want to be there and wanted to be somewhere else. So he's got the pressure, if he comes back, of not only performing for his manager and his team, but trying to win over these punters who clearly know he's got no real interest in being there. So that's a double hurdle to go over for him. And I just don't see him do it. Anyway, the other thing is, I don't think he's good enough for what they need. Right.
That's the bottom line, isn't it?
This is the bottom line here. If Chelsea want to be back amongst the elite, City, Liverpool, Arsenal, whoever it is at the top, and the Champions League, it's not Romelu Lukaku. So if that's where he's dealing his cards, Mauricio Pochettino, he's screwed anyway.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.